The great hall was silent. Its walls were made of black stone that shined like glass under strange blue lights. Rows of alien creatures sat in silence, their glowing eyes fixed on the center stage. In the middle stood Elias, a human, trembling yet trying to stand tall. He had been taken from Earth without warning, without reason, without even a goodbye to his people. Elias looked around in confusion, his heart racing. He could hear the heavy sound of his own breathing echo against the cold walls. This was no dream. This was real. Strange symbols floated in the air, holograms written in a language he could not read. At the far end of the hall sat the tribunal, tall beings with silver skin and long robes that shimmered like liquid metal. Their leader spoke, his voice deep and sharp like a blade. "Human, your kind claims to understand love and sacrifice. Tonight we test your truth." 2 cages of glass rose from the floor. Inside them were Anna and Mira, his sisters. Elias felt his knees weaken at the sight. Anna pressed her hands on the glass. Her eyes wide with fear, Mira shouted his name, her voice shaking but strong. They were both alive but trapped. Elias slammed his fists on the glass walls that separated him from them, shouting, "Let them go! They have nothing to do with this." But the tribunal only watched with cruel silence. Then came the words that froze his blood. "Choose one sister, human. Only one will live. The other will die tonight. If you refuse to choose, both will perish, and your species will be judged unworthy." Elias could not breathe. The words echoed in his mind, louder than the beating of his heart. Choose one sister, one life against the other. The tribunal was not simply testing him. They were testing the value of humanity itself. He turned his eyes back to his sisters. Anna was shaking her head, tears running down her face. Mira was pounding on the glass, shouting for him to stay strong. Elias remembered them as children, laughing in the fields back home. Running barefoot through the grass, he remembered holding their hands when storms frightened them, promising he would always protect them. And now here he was, forced to break that promise. The alien leader leaned forward. His silver eyes burned with cruel delight. "Every species we have tested before made their choice quickly. Most chose selfishly. Some chose cold logic. Which will humans choose? Will you pick the strong one? The weak one? Or will you freeze and lose them both?" Laughter rippled through the alien crowd, a low and terrible sound. Elias felt his chest tighten, his fists clench. His voice cracked when he spoke. "I will not choose. No human should be forced to kill family." The tribunal's laughter grew louder. "You refuse? Then both die, and with them your world may follow." A giant clock appeared in the air, numbers glowing red. The countdown had begun. 10 minutes. That was all the time Elias had to decide. Every second ticked louder and louder like a drumbeat inside his skull. Anna pressed her forehead against the glass and whispered, "Elias, it's okay, save Mira." Mira shook her head furiously, shouting, "No, save Anna, let me go, Elias." Their voices tore through him like knives. His sisters were begging for the other one's life. Not their own. This was worse than torture. Elias wanted to scream, but his throat burned with silence. He looked at the alien crowd, their glowing eyes feeding on his pain. They were enjoying this, enjoying human suffering. The clock ticked down. 9 minutes, 8 minutes. The sound filled the hall, echoing like thunder. Elias felt sweat drip down his face, his hands trembling. He thought of Earth, of his people, of the millions who would suffer if he failed this cruel test. This was not only about Anna and Mira. This was about all of humanity. His choice would mark his species forever in the eyes of the tribunal. He fell to his knees, tears burning in his eyes. He wanted to smash the glass, tear the walls apart, fight the tribunal with his bare hands, but he was powerless, surrounded. The aliens watched him like hunters waiting for the kill. The leader spoke again, his voice like ice. "Human, time is short, your weakness is showing. Choose now, or lose everything." The hall was silent, except for the ticking clock and the sound of his sister's sobs. Elias looked at Anna, then at Mira, his heart breaking with every second. How could he choose? How could anyone choose? Yet the aliens demanded it. The cruel test had begun, and humanity's fate hung by a thread. The clock kept ticking, red numbers glowing in the air. 7 minutes left, 6 minutes left. Every second felt like a knife cutting into Elias's chest. The tribunal waited, their glowing eyes fixed on him, enjoying his torment. The silence of the alien crowd was heavy, broken only by the sound of the countdown. Elias felt the weight of all humanity pressing down on his shoulders. He clenched his fists, his knuckles white. I will not choose, he shouted, his voice echoing through the great hall. The words shook the silence, sharp like thunder. The aliens leaned forward, their faces twisting with surprise. No one had ever dared to speak like that in their court before. The leader's silver eyes narrowed, his voice cold. Foolish human, your pride will cost both sisters their lives, and perhaps your entire species. Elias's heart pounded, but he did not look away. He stood tall, his voice trembling but strong. You think humanity is selfish. You think we are weak, but you are wrong. You will not make me a killer of my own blood. The sisters heard his words. Tears shining in their eyes, Anna shook her head slowly, whispering, Elias, please, one of us must live. Mira pressed her hands to the glass, her voice breaking. Brother, don't let us both die. Choose me. Let Anna go. Elias's chest burned with pain, his mind split apart by their pleas. Both sisters were willing to die for the other, and that truth cut deeper than any blade. He looked at them and remembered their childhood. Anna always protecting Mira when she was afraid. Mira always sharing her last piece of bread when they were hungry. He remembered the promise he had made as their brother. I will always protect you. I will never let harm come to you. Now the tribunal wanted him to break that promise, to destroy the very love that made humans strong. The aliens laughed, their voices echoing like cruel bells. Every species says the same. They all speak of love, they all speak of loyalty, but in the end they choose. They always choose prove us wrong or prove us right. Human. The laughter filled the hall. Heavy and mocking, Elias's rage grew hotter, his hands trembling with fury. He wanted to fight, to break the glass, to tear down the tribunal with his bare hands. The countdown glowed. 5 minutes left. The red light washed over his sisters' faces, making them look like they were already fading. Elias's heart cracked at the sight. But then a thought struck him. This was not only about Anna and Mira, this was about the image of all humankind. The tribunal wanted him to bend, to obey, to surrender his humanity to their cruel game. He raised his head and shouted, his voice shaking the silence. No, I will not choose. Because love is not about numbers, love is not about logic, love is not about deciding who lives and who dies. Love is about giving everything, even your own life, to protect another. The alien crowd stirred, whispers echoing through their ranks. Never before had a human spoken such words in their court. The leader's eyes burned brighter, anger flickering in his gaze. So you would sacrifice both sisters? That is weakness, that is cowardice, the alien leader hissed. Elias took a step forward, his body trembling but his voice strong. No, it is not cowardice, it is defiance. You want me to betray humanity's heart, and I refuse. You want me to prove we are animals, but I will prove we are more than you will ever understand. The hall grew silent, the air heavy with tension. The countdown glowed. 4 minutes left. Anna pressed her hands harder against the glass, her tears flowing. Elias, please don't lose both of us. You must save at least one, she begged. Mira cried out, no, save her, save Anna. Let me go. Their voices overlapped, their desperate words breaking his heart. Elias shut his eyes, covering his ears as if trying to block out the impossible choice. The tribunal's leader rose from his seat, his towering form shining with silver light. He looked down at Elias with disgust. We test you and you resist. You believe you can bend the rules. But our law is unbreakable. You have minutes left. Choose, or your world is lost. Elias stared back, his eyes burning with tears but also with fire. He shouted, his voice shaking the chamber. Then let the world be lost if saving it means destroying the love that makes us human. The alien crowd gasped, their whispers turning into a storm of voices. Never had any species rejected the tribunal's law so boldly. Elias's words carried across the hall like fire. His defiance was not just for his sisters, but for every man, woman, and child of Earth. The tribunal had wanted him to break, but instead he had stood taller than ever. The countdown glowed. 3 minutes left. The leader's cold voice echoed. Your defiance will kill them both. Elias's hands trembled, his heart screamed in agony. But his eyes did not fall. He whispered to himself, I will find another way. I must find another way. The clock kept ticking, each second louder, each second pushing him closer to the edge. The sisters cried, the aliens watched, the leader waited. But Elias stood unbroken, his defiance burning like a flame against the darkness. Humanity had not given in, not yet. The cruel test was still running, But the tribunal had seen something no other species had ever shown them. A human who would rather face extinction than destroy the love of family. The countdown clock glowed with cruel red light. 2 minutes left, numbers burning in the air like fire. Elias stood firm, sweat rolling down his face, his heart pounding like a drum. The alien tribunal sat in silence now, their silver eyes studying him as if he were a strange creature they had never seen before. The leader finally rose, his robe of shining metal flowing like liquid. He raised one long hand, and the countdown froze. The red numbers flickered, suspended in the air. The hall grew so quiet that Elias could hear his sisters breathing inside their glass cages. The alien leader's voice filled the chamber, low and sharp. "Do you wish to know why we test you, human? Do you wish to know our motive?" Elias's fists tightened, his teeth clenched. He shouted back, "You call this a test? This is cruelty, nothing more." The leader's silver face bent into what looked like a cold smile. Cruelty? Perhaps to you, but to us it is truth. We do not waste time with pretty words. We strip away illusions. We find what lies beneath. The alien pointed at Anna and Mira, their terrified faces shining in the blue light. Every race we have tested speaks of love, loyalty, sacrifice. But when forced to decide, their words crumble. They reveal their selfish nature. They reveal that all talk of unity is a lie. Whispers spread through the alien crowd, as if they were reliving old memories of broken species who had failed. The leader continued, his voice heavy with judgment. "We tested the Relians. They chose their strongest child and abandoned the weaker. We tested the Chiron. They sacrificed one family member to save the tribe, and every species we tested showed us the same answer. Love is a mask. Survival is the truth." Elias's stomach turned, his chest burning with anger. The aliens were not testing for strength. They were testing for selfishness. They wanted humans to prove they were no different from the others, he shouted. "You think you understand love, but you don't. Love is not a mask. Love is what makes us human." The leader's eyes narrowed, the silver glow pulsing brighter. "Then prove it, human. Prove your love is not just noise. Prove your loyalty is not just a story you tell yourself at night. If your love is true, choose, and show us the one you value most." Elias's heart stopped, his breath caught in his throat. They wanted him to break his own soul to convince them. He shook his head, his voice shaking but firm. "You will not trap me with your lies. Love is not about choosing. Love is about giving everything, even if it means losing myself." The leader tilted his head, studying Elias like a scientist studies a strange animal. "Interesting. Most resist for a while, but then they choose. You are different. You cling to your words as if they are shields, but words are wind. We demand action." The alien struck the cages with a wave of energy, the glass walls humming with power. Anna screamed. Mira fell to her knees, the cages shaking around them. Elias cried out, his fists pounding against the invisible barrier that held him back. "Stop, don't hurt them," he shouted, his voice raw. The leader's voice echoed in reply. "Then choose or watch them both burn." The cages glowed brighter, sparks dancing across their surfaces. Anna pressed her hands against the glass, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Elias, please save Mira, don't let her suffer," Mira shouted, her voice breaking. "No, save Anna, save her life, let me go." Their words cut him like blades, both begging to die so the other could live. The alien crowd whispered, their voices low and cold. They were watching something new, something they had never seen before. A family where each one begged for the other's life. The leader's eyes narrowed, his voice slow. "Strange. Most cry for themselves. Most beg for their own survival. But your sisters beg for each other. Perhaps humans are different. Or perhaps this is another mask." Elias felt rage rising in him like fire. "You think love is weakness because you've never known it. You think sacrifice is foolish because you've never given anything for someone else. You judge us by your own empty hearts. But humanity is not like you." His words thundered through the hall, making the alien crowd fall silent again. The leader's silver skin rippled, his cold smile fading. He raised his hand, and the cages stopped glowing, the sparks vanishing. "Very well, human. If you refuse to choose, then we will choose for you," the leader said. The words struck Elias like lightning. He shouted, "No, you will not take them from me." The leader's voice grew colder, sharper. "Your species hangs on the edge of judgment. If you will not reveal the truth, then we will cut away the lies ourselves." The cages began to sink back into the floor, the sisters screaming as they disappeared beneath the black stone. Elias roared, slamming his fists against the barrier, his voice breaking with desperation. The alien leader raised his hand again, his silver eyes glowing brighter than fire. "This is the motive, human. We do not care for your comfort. We do not care for your cries. We strip away your masks until nothing remains but the truth. And tonight we will see if your humanity is truth or illusion." The hall shook with power. The crowd leaned forward in silence. Elias fell to his knees, his tears burning. But in his heart a new fire began to rise. If the tribunal wanted to see the truth of humanity, then he would show them. Not with obedience, not with betrayal, but with defiance strong enough to break their cruel game. The test was no longer just about Anna and Mira. It had become a war. Between their cold logic and the burning fire of human love, the black stone floor trembled as the cages sank lower. Anna and Mira screamed, their voices echoing across the alien hall. Elias clawed at the invisible barrier, his fingers bleeding as he struck it again and again. But nothing broke, nothing moved. The tribunal watched with calm faces, their silver eyes cold as frozen stars. The alien leader raised his hand and the cages froze halfway. The glass walls glowed faintly, as if burning from within. Anna pressed her face to the wall, her tears sliding down her cheeks. Mira knelt on the floor of her cage, her hands trembling but her eyes steady. They looked at their brother and both spoke at the same time. "Save her, not me," Anna cried. "No, save her, not me," Mira shouted. The words clashed in the air like two swords, cutting straight into Elias's heart. He fell against the barrier, shaking his head, whispering, "No, no, don't do this to me, don't make me choose." But the tribunal leaned forward, hungry for the decision. The alien leader's voice echoed like thunder. "Remarkable, your sisters fight not for their own lives, but for each other. Tell me, human, is this love or madness? Is this weakness or strength? Choose and let us see," Elias screamed back. "You don't understand. This is what makes us strong. This is what makes us human." But the leader only raised the countdown again. The red numbers burned in the air. 3 minutes left. Anna's body shook with sobs, but her voice grew fierce. "Elias, listen to me. I am older. I've lived longer. My time is done, save Mira. She still has a future." Mira's hand slammed against the glass, her voice breaking. "No, don't listen to her, save Anna. She's the one who always protected us. She deserves to live." Their words collided, each sacrificing herself for the other. Elias's tears blurred his vision. He remembered when Anna carried him on her back after he scraped his knee as a boy. He remembered when Mira stayed awake all night just to keep him company during storms. Every memory struck him like a blade. How could he let either of them go? The alien crowd whispered, their voices a low hiss. Some seemed surprised, others curious. They had never seen such defiance of survival. Most species begged for their own lives. But here were two humans begging to die for the other. The leader leaned closer, his silver eyes glowing. "Strange, very strange. Love that seeks its own death. What kind of strength is this, human? Will you reward such sacrifice, or will you betray it?" Elias banged his fists on the barrier, his voice raw. "Stop. You twist everything. You want me to turn their love into betrayal, but I won't. I can't." The clock ticked louder. 2 minutes left. Anna closed her eyes, her face calm now. "Elias, please, do it for me. Press the button for Mira." "I'm ready." Mira shook her head, tears pouring. "No, no, press it for Anna. Don't let her die, I beg you." Their sacrifice was tearing Elias apart piece by piece. The tribunal's leader stood taller, his robe shimmering like water. This is the truth of your kind, human. You call it love, but it is chaos. You call it strength, but it is weakness. What good is love if it makes you powerless? What good is love if it leads to extinction? The crowd murmured in agreement, their cold eyes glowing. Elias's voice cracked as he screamed, "Love is not weakness. Love is the only power that matters. Love is the reason we fight, the reason we endure, the reason we rise again after every fall." The cages shook violently, sparks of energy racing across their walls. Anna gasped but still smiled weakly through the pain. "See, Mira? He will protect you," she whispered. Mira pounded the glass, crying out, "No, Anna, stop saying that. I won't let you go." The sight of his sisters breaking for each other shattered Elias's soul. 1 minute left. The red glow painted their faces. The tribunal leaned forward, silent and eager. Elias fell to his knees, clutching his head, his mind spiraling with agony. He wanted to scream, to tear the universe apart, but all he could do was kneel and cry. Anna pressed her hand against the glass, her voice soft but firm. "Elias, don't cry. You must live, even if we don't. Promise me you'll fight for humanity." Mira pressed her hand to the glass too, her voice fierce. "No, brother, promise me you'll save her. Promise me you'll protect Anna like you always have." Their sacrifice was not only for each other, but for him. The leader's voice sliced the silence. "Time is almost gone, human. Choose now or both will vanish forever." The clock blazed. 30 seconds. Elias lifted his head, his face streaked with tears, his eyes burning with fire. He shouted, his voice echoing like thunder, "If you want to see humanity's truth, then look at my sisters. They would rather die than betray each other. That is love, that is strength. And if that is not enough for you, then you will never understand us." The alien crowd went silent, their glowing eyes wide. No species had ever spoken with such fire. The tribunal leader narrowed his eyes, his silver glow flickering. The countdown ticked down. 15 seconds, 10 seconds. Elias's body trembled, his fists clenched, his soul breaking but unyielding at that moment. Anna and Mira pressed their palms together through the glass. Their voices joined as one. "We love you, brother. No matter what happens." Elias's heart cracked open, his scream filling the hall. The clock reached 0, the tribunal would decide. But Elias had already proven something no alien could deny, that humanity's strength was not survival, but sacrifice. The great hall trembled as the countdown hit 0. The glowing numbers vanished into smoke, leaving only silence. Elias fell forward against the invisible barrier, his body shaking, his voice trapped in his throat. Anna and Mira pressed their hands to the glass, their eyes full of tears but also full of love. They had given their final words, their sacrifice, and now the choice was no longer his. The alien leader raised both hands, silver light flowing from his palms. The cages began to sink again slowly, like coffins being lowered into the earth. Elias screamed, pounding his fist so hard against the barrier that his skin tore. Blood smeared across the invisible wall, but he did not stop. His cry was not only for his sisters, but for humanity itself. The tribunal remained silent, their glowing eyes fixed on the human. They wanted to see his breaking point. They wanted to see when his defiance would shatter. Elias's heart thundered, his body trembling, but his spirit still burned like fire. He shouted with all his strength, his voice shaking the hall. "I will not choose, I will not obey, you will not turn me into a monster." The alien leader tilted his head, his silver face unreadable. "You speak of love as if it is fire, but fire always dies. In the end, only ashes remain." Elias's voice cracked as he roared back, "No, love does not die. Love is the reason we rise again from the ashes. You cannot break what binds us, you cannot kill what makes us human." The crowd stirred, their whispers like rustling leaves. Some looked uncertain, others angry, but all of them were watching closely. The cages glowed brighter, lightning sparking across their glass walls. Anna screamed. Mira fell to her knees, the energy crawling over their bodies. Elias's soul ripped apart at the sight. He could not bear it. Something inside him snapped. A desperate strength rising in his veins, he slammed his fists once more against the barrier. And this time, cracks of blue light flickered through it. The tribunal gasped, their whispers turning into sharp hisses. The alien leader's silver eyes widened for the first time. "Impossible," he whispered. "No species has ever resisted the barrier." But Elias's fury was beyond control. His love had become a storm. He roared, "If you want to see humanity's truth, then look at this. We do not break. We fight until the end." He struck the barrier again. Blue cracks spreading like spiderwebs. The ground shook, the air burned. The alien crowd rose from their seats in shock. Elias's hands were bleeding, his body was weak, but his spirit was stronger than steel. He looked at his sisters, his voice breaking. "Anna, Mira, hold on. I will not let them take you." The alien leader raised his hand, his voice sharp. "Enough. You are only delaying the inevitable. You cannot win. Human will is nothing against eternal law." But Elias spat blood onto the floor and growled, "Then your law is nothing, because humanity does not live by your rules. We live by our love, by our sacrifice, by our fight." The barrier shattered with a deafening crack, shards of blue energy bursting into the air. The crowd screamed, their voices shrill with disbelief. Never in the history of the tribunal had this happened. Elias stumbled forward, his body weak but his spirit unbroken. He slammed his hands against the cages, sparks burning his skin, but he did not let go. Anna cried out, "Elias, stop, you'll kill yourself." Mira shouted, "Brother, please, you don't have to do this." But Elias's voice thundered back, "Yes, I do. I promised I would protect you, and I will." No matter the cost. His blood mixed with the sparks, his body trembling, but he held on. The cages shook violently, their glowing walls cracking under his touch. The alien leader's voice roared through the hall. "This is not strength, this is madness. You will destroy yourself for nothing." Elias's eyes blazed as he shouted back, "Madness to you, but to us it is love, and love is worth everything." The crowd fell silent, their glowing eyes wide. The cages shattered with a thunderous crash, glass exploding into shards of light. Anna and Mira fell into Elias's arms, their bodies trembling but alive. Elias collapsed to his knees, clutching them close, his blood soaking into their clothes. He whispered, tears streaming down his face. "You are safe, you are both safe." The alien hall quaked with chaos, voices rising in disbelief. The leader's silver skin rippled with anger, his voice sharp as ice. "You have broken the trial. You have defied the tribunal. This has never happened before." Elias looked up at him, his arms wrapped tightly around his sisters, his voice weak but steady. "Then remember this moment. Remember that humanity does not bend. We do not kill love. We fight for it." The leader stared down at him, silent for a long moment. Then his cold smile returned, faint and dangerous. "You may think you have won, human, but the test is not over. You have broken the rules, and the punishment for that will be far worse than choosing." The crowd went still, their glowing eyes focused on Elias and his sisters. The trial had not ended, it had only reached its breaking point. The air was heavy with silence. The shattered glass of the cages still glowed on the floor like broken stars. Elias held Anna and Mira close, his body trembling, his blood dripping onto the black stone. He had done the impossible. He had broken the barrier. He had broken the cages. But now the tribunal was watching, and their silver eyes burned with fury. The alien leader rose slowly, his tall figure casting a shadow across the hall. His voice rang like steel. "You dare break our trial? You dare to defy the ancient law? Human, your act is not courage, it is rebellion, and rebellion must be crushed." The alien crowd hissed in unison, their whispers sharp and cruel. The great hall trembled as energy gathered around the tribunal. Elias staggered to his feet, holding his sisters close behind him. His body was weak, his hands torn, but his spirit was stronger than ever. He shouted, his voice breaking but steady, "If your law demands that love must die, then your law is already broken. If your law demands that family betray family, then your law is a lie. Humanity will never bow to it." His words echoed through the chamber. Shaking the silence, the alien leader raised his glowing hand, silver fire swirling in his palm. "Then you and your sisters will die together, and humanity with you," he declared. The crowd roared, their voices rising like thunder. Anna clung to Elias's arm, whispering, "Brother, you can't fight them. They are too many." Mira's voice trembled. "Please, just save yourself. Don't let them kill you with us." But Elias shook his head fiercely, his eyes blazing. "No, I will never leave you. I would rather die with you than live without you." He looked at the leader and shouted, "If you want to test humanity, then know this. We don't play your game. We break it, we don't follow your rules, we make our own." His voice rang like fire, filling the entire hall. The leader snarled, the silver glow in his body flaring brighter. The ground cracked as waves of energy surged outward, but Elias stood firm, his sisters clutching his arms. In that moment he realized something powerful. The tribunal fed on obedience. They fed on fear, but if humanity refused to play, if they destroyed the game itself, the tribunal's power could shatter. Elias whispered to himself, his eyes burning with fire. If survival is the game, then I will gamble everything, even my life, even my soul. Humanity's strength is not in choosing who dies. It is in fighting until there is no breath left. He tightened his grip on Anna and Mira, his voice rising like a storm. If you want a choice, here is my choice. I choose defiance, I choose love. I choose to burn your law to ashes, the crowd gasped. The silver energy in the hall trembled. The tribunal leader's voice thundered. You dare gamble with your species' fate? You dare risk extinction for pride? Elias roared back. This is not pride, this is humanity. We would rather die free than live as your slaves. We would rather fight your false law than become its puppets. The hall shook with his words. The leader unleashed his silver fire, a wave of burning light that tore through the air. It surged toward Elias and his sisters like a storm of knives. But Elias stepped forward, his arms outstretched, his body shielding Anna and Mira. The fire struck him, pain ripping through his body like lightning. But still he stood, his teeth clenched. You cannot kill love, he screamed. The fire exploded around him, shattering the floor, shaking the pillars of the hall. The alien crowd staggered, their whispers turning into fearful cries. Elias's body burned with pain, but his eyes glowed with something greater, defiance, hope, love. He was no longer just a man, he was the voice of humanity itself. Anna cried out, Elias, stop, you'll die. Mira screamed, please let go, don't do this. But Elias held firm, his voice roaring. If my life is the price, then I pay it gladly, because humanity does not surrender. Humanity fights, humanity loves. Humanity endures, the tribunal's power faltered. The silver fire dimming, the leader's eyes widened, his voice trembling with rage. This cannot be. No species has ever resisted the tribunal's judgment. No species has ever stood against our law. Elias took a step forward, his body broken but unyielding. He shouted, his voice shaking the very air. Then let humanity be the first. Let us be the proof that love is stronger than fear. Let us be the species you could not break. The alien crowd was silent, their glowing eyes wide with shock. The tribunal leader lowered his hand slowly, the silver fire fading for the first time. Doubt flickered across his face. Elias held his sisters close, his breath ragged, his body shaking, but his eyes burning with victory. The gamble had been made. The game had been broken. The leader spoke, his voice low and dangerous. You have shown us something no other species has. Perhaps your humanity is not weakness, but something else, but know this. Human, the tribunal never forgets, this defiance will have a price, and the next test will be far worse. Elias did not look away, his voice calm but firm. Then we will face it, and we will win, because humanity does not break. The hall was silent, the sisters clinging to their brother, the crowd staring in awe and fear. Humanity's gambit had been played, and for the first time in history, the tribunal had been forced to hesitate. The trial was not over, but the game would never be the same again. The great hall of the tribunal was silent. The alien crowd sat frozen, their glowing eyes locked on the human who stood bleeding and broken. Elias's chest rose and fell with ragged breaths, his arms wrapped around Anna and Mira. The shattered glass of the cages still glimmered across the floor like fallen stars. The law of the tribunal had been broken, and for the first time in centuries, the ancient order had been shaken. The alien leader stepped forward, his silver robe flowing like liquid light. His eyes burned with anger, but also with something else, curiosity, perhaps even respect. His voice carried through the chamber, heavy and sharp. Human, you have done the unthinkable. You have defied our law. You have shattered the rules we carved into stone. Do you understand what this means? Elias lifted his head slowly, his face pale, his voice raw but steady. It means your law is not perfect. It means your test was not truth. It means love is stronger than your judgment and humanity is stronger than your chains. His words rang like thunder, filling every corner of the hall. The alien crowd whispered, their voices a storm of disbelief. Some hissed in anger, others murmured in awe. No one had ever dared to call the tribunal's law a lie. Until now, Anna clung to her brother's arm, whispering softly, Elias, please don't push yourself. Mira held his hand tightly, tears still shining in her eyes. "You've already saved us. Don't let them take your strength." But Elias stood tall. Even though his body trembled, he had not fought just for his sisters. He had fought for humanity itself, and now he would speak for them. The alien leader's silver eyes flickered like fire. He raised his hand and silenced the whispers of the crowd. "Perhaps we judged too quickly," he said slowly, his voice colder than ice. "The others we tested crumbled. They chose selfishly. They revealed their weakness. But you refused to play the game at all. You broke the cage, you broke the law. You broke us." The word shook the chamber like an earthquake. Elias's breath was heavy, but he did not look away. "We didn't break, we endured. And if you want to test humanity again, then come. We will endure again, because love cannot be killed." The alien crowd stirred, their glowing eyes flickering with uncertainty. Some looked afraid, others fascinated. For the first time, the tribunal had met a species that did not bend to their judgment. The leader's voice dropped lower, his tone almost dangerous. "Perhaps you are not weak, human. Perhaps you are dangerous. If your people all share this defiance, this madness you call love, then your species is not like the others. You are unpredictable, and unpredictable means uncontrollable." Elias clenched his fists, his voice sharp. "Then remember this. We are not here to be controlled. We are not here to be judged. Humanity does not exist to kneel before you." His words struck the hall like fire. Anna whispered, "Elias, what if they kill us now?" Mira's voice shook. "What if this makes them destroy Earth?" Elias placed a trembling hand on their shoulders, his eyes steady. "Then we will face them together. Because fear is not what makes us human, love is." His sisters held him tighter, their tears falling silently. The alien leader stepped closer, his towering shadow falling over Elias. He stared into the human's eyes for a long moment, then finally spoke, "Very well, human. You have passed this trial, not by obeying, not by choosing, but by breaking everything we believed unbreakable. Humanity is not weak, but you are dangerous, too dangerous to be ignored." The crowd gasped, their voices rising in shock. The tribunal had never admitted defeat, but they had spoken words close to it. Elias's body sagged with exhaustion, but his spirit blazed. He held Anna and Mira close, whispering, "You're safe, you're both safe." The sisters wept against him, their love stronger than the terror around them. The alien leader raised his hand once more, his silver robe shimmering like a storm. "We release you, but hear this warning. This was only the beginning. Humanity has shown us defiance, humanity has shown us love, but the next test will not be so merciful." Elias narrowed his eyes, his voice steady. "Then bring it. We will face every trial you throw. We will fight every cage, break every law, because humanity does not fall." The leader's silver gaze flickered with something unspoken, a mixture of anger and respect. He turned away, his voice echoing through the chamber. "Take them back to their world. Let humanity live for now." The hall's blue lights dimmed. The glass floor opened and a beam of energy swallowed Elias and his sisters. The tribunal vanished into shadows, their silver eyes burning like distant stars. Elias closed his eyes, clutching Anna and Mira tightly as the light pulled them away. His body was broken, his strength nearly gone, but in his heart he carried the fire of victory. For the first time in history, humanity had stood before the tribunal and endured. When the light faded, Elias opened his eyes to see the stars above Earth. The air of home filled his lungs, his sisters beside him, alive. He sank to his knees on the grass, his tears falling, his arms wrapped around them. The sky stretched above them, endless and dark, but no longer empty. For now Elias knew, out there in the stars the tribunal was watching. And humanity had only faced the first of many trials, but he also knew something greater. That no matter how cruel the tests, no matter how heavy the judgment, humanity's strength was unshakable. Not in weapons, not in power, but in the love that refused to break. And as the wind carried his sister's laughter into the night, Elias whispered to himself, "We will be ready always."